Talking all things theatre and events.
Lighting designers are working with video, even if they don't sort of necessarily realise.
That was it was a big dream of mine, to go to Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Since graduating, I have done things such as Phantom of the Opera and Les Mis.
The Stage Is Yours podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Stage Is Yours podcast with me, your host Cal Graham, joined as always by producer Dan, and we're talking all things theatre and events. On today's episode, we're joined by the wonderful Jade Davies. We talk all about her career and the shows that she's been a part of, from Les Mis to Phantom of the Opera. We also talk about the support that exists for performers' mental health and her key work in raising the profile of this. So let's not waste any more time and jump right on into it. Jade Davies, the stage is yours. So join us on the podcast today. We're joined by Jade Davies. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. All right, in a very wet and rainy Edinburgh.
Oh, really?
It was supposed to potentially snow and it's just turned into rain. So
oh no, I'm so jealous of
we're
everyone
kind
that got snow. I was so jealous.
hoping that might turn into more snow later on in the week. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
definitely. That would be good.
Yeah, certainly would be. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about yourself to start with. You are a musical theatre performer. Do that. Let's talk about a little bit about what that involves, a few of the shows that you've been involved with, and we'll kind of start from there.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Jade Davies. I left North Wales at 16 to train in musical theatre. And I studied there for 4 years, and then later on entered the world of musical theatre. Since graduating, I have done things such as Phantom of the Opera and Les Mis in the West End. I have done Wizard of Oz at the Birmingham Reps, where I met you. I've done Chitty Chitty Bang Bang on tour, and I've also been abroad. I worked abroad doing West Side Story and My Fair Lady. I did that in Italy and in Estonia, so I've been a part of some amazing shows.
Yeah, absolutely. The Wizard of Oz one seems like a long time ago.
It does. I think when was it? Back in 2018?
I think so.
And that
crazy 2.5, 3 months that
it was crazy. It was nuts. It was amazing though. I loved it.
It was a great few months, but yeah, it was ambitious show to say the least. So let's talk a little bit about the shows and stuff like that, and that kind of area. So your role within the show obviously varies, different things like that. I've noticed that you've done a swing role.
Yes.
So just explain a little bit about what actually a swing is.
Yeah, cool. So my first job was actually a swing, and I also, that was on Les Mis, and then I swung on Phantom of the Opera. It's basically where if someone is off sick or on holiday or injured, you take their place on stage. So it's kind of it's a really difficult job. You have to really do your homework and learn the tracks really, really well. Because there could be times where you collide with someone, and there could be accidents. So you've just got to be very self-aware. And just work really hard on learning all the tracks. It's such a rewarding job though. When you're taking your bow and you're just like, yes, we kind of are the glue that holds the show together at the end of the day. So it's an amazing job. I love being a swing.
Yeah, I do a similar role on touring productions, being a swing technician, and I actually think it's because I don't do the same thing day in, day out.
Yeah,
there's a huge variation in it, which actually I think for me personally, I go, do you know what? It keeps you fresh.
It keeps it so exciting. You don't know what you're going to get every night and what role you're going to be playing until you kind of enter the building. So it's really, really fun. Yeah,
it is great fun. So let's talk a little bit about those. How did you find working on some of, well, certainly the bigger shows in the UK, and arguably you could argue some of the bigger shows in the world, but however many versions there are? How did you find that?
Do you know what? Phantom and Les Mis were always kind of my dream shows. I was like, you know what? To have 2 of the longest running musicals on my CV would just be absolutely phenomenal. And they were just a dream come true, really. Obviously, there's pressure that comes with it. You have to, do as well as for how long it's been running, maybe like 30 odd years, you want to be doing as good as the previous years and things. And but if I'm honest, like I find more pressure when you're making a show from scratch. For example, when we did Wizard of Oz, it was, we were under a lot of pressure to get it done and finished and ready for an audience. I find it more daunting when we're making a show from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the pressure's a weird one. When it's something
Mm.
that's there, done and dusted, you don't really feel that pressure. It's
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
absolutely.
speaking to a lot of people, it's kind of that's why we do it a little bit when you know what it is you're going. But you're absolutely right. When it's a new show,
Yeah.
I think, canceling the first preview of Wizard of Oz was a stressful
I know,
night.
It was
to say the
sad,
least.
really. It was a bit sad for everyone, but once we got it on its feet, it started to run quite smoothly
Yeah, I think
every
once we got
night.
there,
So
it was
yeah, we
it
got
was
there in the end.
certainly a manic production week, let's put it that way. And
Yeah,
it
it was.
was
It was.
so. But like I said, so yeah, the pressure thing's always a weird one, and a lot of people it's certainly something I know I've been asked by people who see a show but don't necessarily think about what's involved, and it's like, well,
Yeah,
it's kind of part of why we do it, really. Like if it wasn't,
absolutely.
if
Yeah,
we
we wouldn't
didn't,
put ourselves through it if we didn't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely, you have to enjoy it and
So,
you have to love it
yeah,
at the end of the day, because it's
exactly. Yeah.
kind of, as I've now discovered, not being in work takes over your life.
Oh, exactly.
And
Yeah,
your life revolves around it. So
absolutely.
that's always quite interesting. But that's great. So that kind of brings us on into the next little bit, really, which is obviously 2020. We're now in 2021.
Yeah.
I think 2020 was not the year anyone planned ever.
No,
And I don't
it
think it was
really
anything we ever kind of thought it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
So on the kind of surface, how did that obviously affect your plans, and what was kind of that
Yeah.
initial impact, really?
Yeah, do you know what? It's been an incredibly tough year. You know, eh, the industry itself just came to a massive halt, and everything just stopped, and people lost jobs, and shows may not be coming back and things like that, so they may not have a job to go back to, and it's just been so incredibly difficult. I was at the time when we found out about all this, I was currently just auditioning for a few shows, and then everything just stopped. Like no auditions were, continuing, and it's sad because usually my week when I'm not in a show looks like 3 or 4 auditions a week, and recently now it looks like 4 auditions a month, or over the period of 2 months. There's not much happening. So it's been incredibly difficult, really difficult.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, I speak from the side of being on tour, and
Yeah.
it was the oddest week ever, or the 2 days from when we found out that we were being cancelled.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for the guys in the theatre we were working with, because we just finished putting the show in on the Monday, and then had to go back in on Tuesday and pull it all out, because
that is just
on
awful.
the whole destroyer in that. And I felt so sorry for the guys in Bradford. We were like, look, we're really sorry that we've literally just finished putting it in, and we were like,
how
and we were
awful.
kind of, so we unloaded it because we were on weekly moves, so we were like, we don't know what's happening with it. I know Lion King sat in Edinburgh Playhouse for like 2 or 3 months, just sat there, because it would have been there for sort of 8-10 weeks, but they were just like, don't know. So so it was all kind of a bit weird, but it was
that's horrible. It's like the team, the Phantom of the Opera touring cast, they only got to do
just opened. They
only got to do like 4 shows, and then it was gone, and it's not coming back, and it's just devastating for everyone when you've put so much hard work into it.
Massively so. And we were in the slightly lucky sense of, we filmed the show we were with over the Christmas period in London, so we, not long after it all officially kind of got cancelled, we all got kind of a private screening and stuff, so we all caught up and things like that. So it was actually really nice, and then actually was on TV Christmas Day on BBC.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, okay, so it kind of was there, but it was a really odd kind of time, and it was weird. But the amount of support and stuff that came out, I know, our tour group chat still kind of ticks over with everyone just kind of chatting and stuff. So that kind of brings us on to the next thing of like the amount of support that has kind of come out and that is there. And I was talking to someone the other day who reminded me that in that first lockdown there was that wonderful moment where everyone just kind of went, here's all our theatre, and just dumped it all online, and went,
Yeah,
years
absolutely.
worth of shows, and it was
Yeah. Do you know what? I've never actually seen a community come together so quickly and so amazingly. Like, people did so much for each other. Like, I'm thinking about the people who are still currently training in theatre, and
mm,
there's classes, singing, dancing, everything you can think of. Fitness classes, just to keep everyone going and motivated. And being stuck at home is just, it can be quite daunting. So to have things to do and have some sort of structure to your week, is amazing. And people who've put that on is just, yeah, they're really
yeah,
amazing.
absolutely. And I think certainly in the early part, and obviously you yourself were involved with the Southampton Mayflower.
Yes, I was.
Sport intake.
I did various different things actually. So I took part in that Mayflower theatre, kind of, it was like a concert, like a
Mm,
streamed concert that you could kind of pay towards, or it was all going to charity kind of thing. It wasn't
yeah.
like anyone was putting money in their pocket or anything. Yeah, and I've been doing various things, like such as Welsh of the West End. We've been like a team of Welshies in the industry, who kind of just record a song in our bedrooms, just on our little recording system. And yeah, my friend Stefan puts it together, and we put it out for people to see, because it keeps people going, seeing things like that. And I know as well, like various shows streamed, like at the National, I know they streamed a few plays and things, and various musical productions as well, which is amazing, because you're not really allowed to do things like that normally. So it's
No,
nice
very much
that,
so.
yeah, it's nice to see, and keeps people going and
Yeah,
keeps
absolutely.
theatre
And
alive, I guess.
yeah, and you hit the nail on the head when you said that we've never quite seen an industry come together like it. And
Mm.
it was one of those moments, and there's still all the support and stuff going on. So there's kind of everyone's kind of developed these side hustles or things that
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
never really
definitely.
thought about or gone, oh, I could do this,
Yeah,
and never had the time to do. And and actually some of the stuff that's come out is amazing, and
yeah, for sure.
we'll see if it kind of, in a weird way, I hope they don't carry on, 'cause I hope everyone goes back to their
I know, I
normal
know,
job. You don't want to say that, but
I know,
it's
definitely.
a bit
Yeah.
of a weird one. But it's interesting talking to people all over the industry, and there are some positives to obviously come out of all this.
Yeah.
Um, so which is a bit different. Obviously, we talked about a few of them there. And even if it's just as simple as myself of having some time off,
Yeah,
as enforced as it
absolutely.
was, um,
Yeah,
I think I looked at it, and I think it was the first time in sort of 8-9 years I'd had more than 2 weeks off in a
yeah,
consecutive time,
absolutely.
and I was like, it's a
And
bit.
that's a lot for someone to take. And I was exactly the same. I was in a position where I was like, "Do you know what? I would really love just a good couple of months just to myself." Obviously wasn't expecting it to turn out, into a
Yes,
year or anything, but
absolutely.
it was nice to be able to spend time, at home with my partner, and just, kind of have a bit of a normal life for a bit. But yeah, I feel for the people who have been on their own throughout lockdown. I know that can be incredibly difficult. But yeah, I've been super lucky to be able to spend time with people, and yeah, have some time to myself for a change.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a weird one, and kind of it was like I said, it was that moment I realised when I was kind of like, okay, and they announced that our tour that was it, it was done, and we were
Yeah.
like, okay,
What do I do now?
what do we do? So I was like,
Yeah,
fine,
exactly.
and I took some time. Like I said, I'm just going to chill out for like a month and just
Yeah.
and try not to think of work and stuff. Like
Yeah,
I try not
absolutely.
to, but like you said,
Absolutely.
it's when we're involved in something that we do that we enjoy so much, you can't help but kind of every
Oh,
now and then just be like, oh, just check out this.
of course, of course.
Of
Yeah,
doing that. So,
definitely.
um, touching on it there, and the main reason kind of I wanted to chat to you really today is obviously I've followed through Instagram and things like that, and
Yeah.
it's something that is so prevalent and should be more prevalent in the industry. And I feel, in a weird way, it's one of the positives that come out of lockdown.
Mhm.
In a weird way, is that the kind of support network and the mental health side of things for everyone is that um us as an industry is very pressurized, or certainly
Yeah.
can be.
Oh,
Um, and
absolutely.
regardless of which side of you in, and there are different pressures if yourself as a performer,
Yeah.
and myself in the production side, but of
Mhm.
doing that. So I just sort kind of
Mhm.
thought, give you the chance to kind of talk about kind of how you found things, how you kind of what is out there, what people can get out there and reach, and
Yeah,
the good work that is going on around this out there that doesn't necessarily
yeah,
always get the kind of
absolutely. I think obviously mental health within the industry, within normal life, whether you're in the industry
absolutely.
or not, it's just so important. You have to look after yourself. And I actually discovered on Instagram a page called Applause for Thought. They actually put out offers for you to do courses and things in. So, like for example, in lockdown one, I took part in a mental health awareness course, and then I became a mental health first aider. It actually runs in my family, being doing stuff with mental health. My mum and my nan and all her sisters are all involved with mental health.
Amazing.
So I knew that I kind of enjoyed it, and kind of learning about it. And yeah, it was an amazing experience because it just helps you learn how to professionally help someone in a situation where they might need help, or they're struggling or things. I have a few people close to home who struggle quite a lot on a daily basis, and it's nice that they can come to me, and know that they can have a good chat with me and I can help them through it. So I would recommend, if anyone is interested, to follow Applause for Thought on Instagram, because they do offer lots and lots of different courses. I'm going to be taking a diploma hopefully this year, in therapy, preferably child therapy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to taking it a bit further. But there is always help out there. I want everyone to know that there is so much help out there. You can text a team called Shout, and if you're going through this pandemic on your own, it's so daunting and horrible, and you can feel so lonely. And if you feel like you haven't got many people to speak to, you can text Shout to 85258, and they get back to you straight away. They're there to offer you help, like 24 hours 7 days a week. And they're incredible. They're absolutely incredible. I think it's just such a wonderful thing to put out there for people to know that there is always help. You're never alone. And yeah, it's really important, I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely. And I think and like I said, just having someone that you can do that, and it's something that is definitely more prevalent in the industry. Certainly, the company I was
Yeah,
out on tour with arranged for those of us who wanted to do. I think it may have been similar, kind of a 1-day mental health first aider course, and a
yeah,
good chunk of us did that. And even just from the point of being able to kind of see certain things that someone might be doing that might suggest they're just having a bit of a tough time. And if
absolutely.
it's
Yeah, yeah, you can see this is what the course is all about. Like
yeah,
being able to see if someone is struggling. You can tell from certain things that they're doing. um, you know, and then you can offer your professional help, I guess. But yeah, it's an amazing idea, and I've always wanted to find kind of something alongside theatre to do. Something that I still enjoy as much as theatre, and I think I'll definitely be taking it further. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's something that can very within the kind of certainly in the theatre world that could very easily be integrated into kind of how a theatre company is a group of
Absolutely.
people that you could be quite easily just a couple of people that
Yeah. Because coming into the industry, it's daunting, because I don't think you're prepared for how much criticism and knockbacks you're going to get, and that can really play a massive part in your mental health and how you think of yourself. And you know I just think it's so important to know that there's help out there for you if you are struggling. So
yeah, absolutely. It's especially coming out into this, I think for anyone at the moment, and
mm,
even more so performers having to go through that audition process. I think it's
yeah,
and that nature. I've personally said it takes a very strong mindset to keep going through that process and keep doing that. And
absolutely,
obviously, that is ultimately going to take its toll. If unfortunately
absolutely,
things don't go as you might plan them to.
yeah,
I'm chatting to a friend of mine, Aiden, on the podcast, and he said he's actually lockdown was the best thing that happened for him because he was at a point where he's like, I don't know whether I still want to do this or not. And
yeah,
actually, having lockdown, he's gone right and has gone as and when things happen. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want to
yeah.
do, and
Mm.
it's kind of been a nice reset for him in a
Yeah,
weird
that's
way,
so
and
good.
taking that step. So actually, again, those positives from that side of it coming out are great. But um,
Absolutely. I think a lot of theatre people have discovered a lot about themselves during this time, and not to, take the industry so, heavily and stress about it too much. It's more important to try and find something that you enjoy, and theatre will be back. Theatre will definitely be
absolutely.
back, and it will be back stronger than ever. I know it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Which is great, and we all know it will, and we're all desperate to get back. So there's
oh,
hopefully there will
absolutely.
just be this absolute flood of us all doing of doing shows, that there will just be
Yeah,
stuff everywhere. So which is going to
definitely.
be great. So all the way through kind of lockdown and stuff like that, it's quite interesting the different kind of ways the industry has diversified itself and the different offerings and things like that.
Mm.
So and the way theatre or performance and arts has been now being kind of absorbed by our audience, because we've all had to adapt what we're
Oh,
putting out there and stuff.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
is there anything that you've kind of gone, that's what is the new kind of thing, or the lockdown medium that you've gone has kind of caught your eye? Is there anything that someone's done that you've really kind of thought that's really
I
quite
think
creative? Or
I think it's just I did this thing called Spotlight on the Future, which is this guy called Louis. He puts it together for new grads who are coming out of the industry, and they're coming out to obviously an industry that doesn't exist. So he's putting on shows and putting on classes for them, and I think that's amazing because we tend to not think about the graduates who are coming out. We tend to think about ourselves really, and I think it's important to open the industry's mind a little bit to the graduates, and have a think about them a bit. I actually took part in a streamed concert again. It was really cool. It was like in this outdoor arena thing, because obviously everything had to be
yeah,
outdoors, and it was amazing because we all got partnered with a new graduate, and we got to kind of chat, and they got to ask questions and sing together, and it was just a lovely experience, and I think there should be more of that. It really, really was inspiring to be a part of. So I definitely would say that.
yeah, that's amazing. Like I said, the positives coming out of it, and whether it's I mean, things like Netflix and all of that sort of stuff are doing really well, regardless of lockdown. And now suddenly we're all
Yeah,
sat around being able to
yeah,
actually sit and
absolutely.
watch. And
Yeah.
my watch list on Netflix has actually gone down for once over the course of lockdown, not just keep adding more shows to it. I've actually
Oh, I know. I'm watching so
sat
much
and
at the minute.
watched.
I can't keep up.
It's ridiculous. Or starting stuff that I'd never had the chance to get around to actually sit and watch.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Which has
It's
been nice
lovely.
that it's things like that. But yeah, so the kind of and it'll be interesting to see if, I mean, Netflix will just go from strength to strength and the kind of streaming thing, especially with them now creating all their own
Yeah,
content as
absolutely.
well,
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really, really good.
which
I've watched so many shows over lockdown. Honestly, countless. I can sit and watch telly for hours. So
I just that I don't know if have I made the mistake of starting to watch Grey's Anatomy for the first time, actually
honestly,
getting to watch it.
honestly, don't give up. It's
Oh, not at all.
world.
And I think it was only the other day that I actually looked through, like, actually, how much is there to watch? And
Oh,
realised,
there's like
I've got a
hundreds
lot.
of
I
yeah,
was
there's
like,
hundreds of
I've got
seasons.
15 series to watch. Brilliant.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
it's a lot, but do you know what? It's worth it. It's just one of my favorite all-time series. I've watched it through about 3 times. So yeah,
it's
I'm a
been
bit of
sat
a
there for ages, and then I was like, flicking through and it just popped up on Amazon Prime, and I was like,
yeah,
well, I've finally got time to actually sit and watch it. So let's
absolutely. Give it a go. Why
been on my
not?
radar for far too long. But yeah, so I think things like that and that kind of nature of things, obviously once some restrictions lift, I'm sure they will only go from strength to strength. And
Yeah,
I think people have
absolutely.
discovered series that really kind of hook them in, and
Absolutely. There's so many out there. There's so
there's
many.
certainly things that have been released during lockdown, I feel, will have an absolutely
Yeah,
almost a bit of an added
definitely.
advantage, really. You've launched your TV show or your series at that point when there
Yeah.
is more people around to sit
Yeah,
and
I don't know
watch
if
it.
you watched. My partner was actually in Bridgerton on Netflix. It is this new
It
series.
is on my list. My partner is
Oh,
absolutely hooked, and
really?
binged it ridiculously
Oh
quickly.
my
Was like, you
god!
need to watch it, and I'm like, I can't have too many on the go at once,
Yeah,
otherwise
yeah,
I'll lose track. But it's on my to watch. But yeah, my partner is she.
hooked. Do you know what? I can't believe how amazing it's done. I'm so proud of him. He plays Colin Bridgerton, one of the brothers. And yeah, it was amazing because it came out on Christmas Day, and it was so special to like kind of sit together and watch that.
Yeah, absolutely.
On Christmas Day.
It's amazing. And yeah, I think things like that. I think Bridgerton's certainly one of the ones that has
Yeah, it's
really kind of hooked in.
yeah,
And
it's done so well. Can't believe it.
absolutely. And I think it appeals to a much wider audience than I think
Yeah,
of doing that. So it is great to kind of to see things like that doing really well, and it's original things. And yeah, like I said, going forward, it'll be interesting to see how many of the kind of things that people have done to adapt kind of carry on and stick with us, and whether the kind of online thing is something that happens more and more. And
yeah. Oh, the online thing has become such a huge thing. It's had to be. You know, with all I've done various online concerts and you know, all for charity and things, and it's still quite nerve-wracking, honestly. Like, you know, when you're singing to like no audience, just your camera, it's really, really weird. But
especially if you're in an actual theatre and a space where you're expecting.
That was crazy. But especially when you're in your like living room and you're like all dressed up to the nines and ready to sing to an audience online, it's really bizarre. But yeah, I think it's such an amazing thing to have come out of lockdown. It's definitely one of the positives.
Yeah, and I think it allows people to actually get to know you yourself as a performer, not just the character that you might play on stage or
exactly.
whatever it is.
Totally agree.
Kind of allows people to see that it's not just that you are a person. You're not just what
I'm a human being
is in the script, not just what is in the script and written there, which I think is very easy to do. And I mean, not that I'm ever supposed to be spotted on stage, but it's one of those, and it's it is weird adapting kind of things like that. And obviously I think we've all adapted in different ways, so I've kind of picked up bits and pieces trying to kind of learn new skills and stuff like that to kind of go
it's so
do
good
that.
that
But
done that. It's so good.
I think being creative being in theatre, everyone is creative, so I think you've always got to have some sort of creative outlet. I was kind of sat there in first lockdown and got to a point I was like, right, everything's in order. I've planned everything I can possibly plan for future events, so I found I was more organised this lockdown, because lockdown 1, all I did was quizzes every night and Zoom quiz.
Kelly, honestly, the Zoom quiz, the dreaded Zoom quiz. Do you know what? I still do it with my family because obviously they're still up in North Wales, so
absolutely,
it's the only way to kind of keep in touch with them right now.
Absolutely.
We still do it, still going.
It's just that I think certainly first lockdown as well, we benefited massively with obviously the weather and everything that went on during that. And I'm still of the opinion that there's more than a coincidence that the weather was so great when the world stopped. Suddenly the weather just goes boiling hot and there's a cloud in the sky. I was like, there's more than coincidence to that. But it was so, and I think third lockdown a little bit has been third lockdown, as if that's now actually something we say.
I know.
But I think
it's been a much harder experience because you know everyone knows what to expect and they've been through it, you know, already twice or however many times, and you know you can just think, oh God, doing this all over again, and then you watch the news and they're talking about, you know, extending it, and it just can be a lot. So
I think that's the thing, and like you said, things like Zoom and things like that, having those people around you and having that network is more important than ever. And the companies and things that you've suggested, Applause for Thought, and things like that, there are things there's stuff around that you can anonymously get in touch with, even if it's just to
absolutely
whatever you need.
There's another I've written it down. I have I think they're called Mental Health Mates. They're on Instagram and they actually offer virtual group meetings or like one-on-ones, which is really amazing. I think I've been in contact with them a couple of times just to see how they work and stuff, and they're amazing. You can just, and it's all for free as well, which is another bonus.
Absolute bonus, definitely. brilliant. Well, we'll jump into kind of the last three questions of our podcast. Everyone gets asked these three same questions.
Yes.
A little bit random, a little bit of that, of doing that. One of which stems from a conversation on the back of a truck at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we were we're a little bit tired, but that's where it came from.
Oh gosh, I can imagine.
So it was kind of, so it was one of those. But first one is, and you may have already kind of done this, I don't know, but if you had a dream show that you could be a part of, be in, be involved with, what would that be?
For me, I think my next big dream show is Wicked. I'd love to be in Wicked. Any part would be great. I just love the music, and it was one of the first shows I ever saw on the West End, so it has a really special place in my heart. So I would love to be able to take part in that show, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So our second one, and this is the one from 6 o'clock in the morning on a truck. And we discovered that this is a thing that people do. After a show, rehearsal, whatever it is that you've been do, people seem to have a go-to snack or something that they just crave after that they always seem to have, or that they go to, and they might not even realize it's a thing. But so for you, what is that post-show snack?
So like post show, do you know what, sometimes I'm really naughty and I just love McDonald's chips. Like I have to go.
A more common thing. Like more people have said that than you have said.
No, I
gotta be some fast food.
Myself, like, you can't do that every night. You've got to stop. But yeah, if I'm feeling, a bit cheeky, I will go to McDonald's and get some chips or like a little cheeseburger or something, just to treat myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? It's one of those.
And there's McDonald's everywhere. They're so close to all the theatres.
In a city, touring, it's awful. It's awful. Like when you come out of a theatre at 10, 11 o'clock at night, you're like, okay, what we do? Like, no restaurants are generally open, so if you've not eaten or do that, or if it's after the next morning after I get out, you're like, okay, what have we got open? And it's like fast food breakfast. And
of course. I do love McDonald's breakfast though.
It is, exactly. But it is great. And our final question, I'll do that. What is the one thing that you know now that that you wish you'd known when you'd first started out in the industry? What would that one thing be?
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say to myself, if I was to go back and see myself going into the industry, I would say, don't stress so much. Like, don't worry about, the no's. I always, say everything happens for a reason. I've been in situations where I've been right at the end for an audition. I've got all the way to the end and not got it, but then a couple of weeks later I've had another job offer, and I just think, and just believe in yourself. Like, a lot of people aren't going to believe in you, but as long as you believe in yourself, then that's all that matters, personally. So yeah, just self-belief and not to take it so seriously, and find joy outside of the industry as much as that. If anything's 2020 has taught me, is to find joy in other things other than the industry. So yeah,
amazing. I love that. That's a lovely little piece of advice and a great note to kind of end the podcast and stuff on. It's been a really nice catching up, and we will fire all those companies that you've mentioned, contact numbers and stuff, out in our kind of posts and stuff with the podcast and stuff as well, and fire lots of things out there, because obviously we need all the good work that is going on needs just as much spotlight as everything else. So
thank you so much for having me.
No worries at all.
Thank you for listening to the Stage Is Yours podcast. Want to know more? Then head over to all of our socials. You can find us at Stage Is Yours Pod, where you can catch a cheeky glimpse at some of our upcoming guests, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure that you never miss an episode. This has been the Stage Is Yours podcast, talking all things theatre and events. Until next time.